iSolve Solutions Pursuit is a side-scrolling puzzle platformer that's played from a 2D perspective. The basic gameplay loop revolves around the player selecting one of 3 puzzle pieces. We have a crate, an I-beam, and a rock, and then using and placing these objects to get past the variety of obstacles that we have in the game. For example, there might be a pit or laser that impedes the progress of the player, and the only way to get past one of these hazards would be to either use the crate or I-beam to essentially make platforms on the fly. This makes for a very dynamic gameplay experience. Finally, in order to add another layer of strategy and implement meaningful decision making into our game, these puzzle pieces have a cost associated with them, and the player only has a set number of funds per level.
Hi, I'm Derek Prate. I'm the lead level designer for Team iSolve. The evolution of our game has been really interesting over the past 4 months. We knew we wanted to do this 2D side-scroller puzzle piece placement game, but we weren't really sure how to do it. And our third piece originally was actually a ladder or a stairway, but as we started playing through, we realized this was really unnecessary since the box and I-beam worked so well. So we actually added a rock for pressure plates. And as we went through more gameplay with the rock, we realized this wasn't used anywhere else. So as we were trying to brainstorm functionality for that, Mark actually discovered that, hey, we can move K-actors with these. So we were able to then work some K-actors into the level to help kind of shore up this short area in gameplay and this limited functionality for the rock, and it really saved us as we went along.
Hello, my name is Scott Fine, and I am the Unreal scripter for Team iSolve. The first cool feature I want to talk about is the ability to use hotkeys to switch between the box, the beam, and the rock. That's using 1, 2, and 3 to switch on the fly whenever, wherever. The second cool unknown feature is that we made it so that the player cannot physically place boxes or beams below kill volumes, so it's not possible for them to jump on a box and end up dying because they placed it too low into the pit. And the final cool feature that's not widely known is the ability to block pendulums. The player can actually put a box on the pendulum to stop it from moving, thus allow them to get past or do whatever they needed to do.
I'm Mark Mullen, the internal producer for Team iSolve. So some techniques that we used during development were bullet pointing our game design doc. This made it easier to read and more direct to the point. Another thing we did is we used pseudocode in our game design doc, and that made translating that into a functional prototype faster and easier for our team to do. We also kept our scope realistic, and that allowed us to focus on the mechanics that we wanted to get across and avoid those pitfalls of trying to make an MMO. It also allowed us some additional time to put some polish in the levels. One thing that we would do differently would be avoiding making multiple levels before we have our mechanics implemented. And that's just to make it faster and easier when we're putting mechanics in multiple levels, instead of having to go into each one and put those in when we make changes.
Hello, my name is Amber McCausley, and I am the lead Kismet scripter for our final project, iSolve. One of the most interesting things that I learned during my time making this game is actually the ability to modify objects' responses via Kismet. What I mean by modifying an object's response is that we have these items called pressure plates, and they respond only to the rock. In order to do that, we had to make sure that the player could have absolutely no interaction with it, and it didn't matter that it was close to it or not. In order to do this, we created a Kismet event, as you can see here, and we changed the proximity type class from the pawn over to the iSolve rock, and as a precautionary measure, we changed the ignored types to the pawn. We also had to take off the player only ability so that it wasn't the only thing that could set it off, and we also had to turn off force overlapping, which causes the player to have to be standing on the plate when it is set off.